I grew up in a godly home with Christian parents who had very close personal relationships with Jesus, and I came to know Jesus myself at a very young age, and tried to walk with him, tried to be a good Christian girl.
I grew up in church and got saved at a pretty young age. My view of God was like that of a lot of other people. I thought he was harsh and judgmental. For years I tried to please God and do what he wanted me to do, and inevitably I'd fail.
But somewhere along the way there was just a piece of me that I couldn't give him. The opinions of others mattered a lot, and so I built my security in my relationships and not in God. I probably was unrecognizable from the sweet Christian girl that I had been.
I'd try to do right and I'd sin and I'd feel guilty and I'd repent and try to do better and I'd fail again. The guilt and the weight of it all just got to be too much, and before I knew it, I made a literal conscious decision to turn my back on God and to live my life my way. So for a while I felt some imagined freedom, but before I knew it, I had done something self-destructive and sinful enough that I ended up getting locked up when I was 16, and I got put away for a while.
Meanwhile, Johnny and I were best friends from the time we were 12 years old, and during the time I was in that wrong relationship, Johnny was dealing with his own hurts a couple hours away, but we kept in contact and we stayed close and we wrote each other, and at one point Johnny came home, and before long we knew that we were supposed to be together, that he was the one for me, and I don't know how I'd missed it all those years.
We got married and things were good. Erin wanted to pursue God, but I still didn't. So life kind of went on. Marriage was great. I loved it. I was 100% into it. Felt like it was the best thing that ever happened to me, but still was doing things my way. Still partying and drinking and, taking Erin along with me.
Some things happened with him that brought him to the end of his rope.
I'd always thought my marriage was the one thing in my life that was unshakable, that would always be stable, and before I knew it, things had happened, and my marriage was literally on the verge of being over.
It was just kind of an overnight thing. Like in a day, our marriage was changed, and he couldn't promise me that he could be the husband that I needed. He couldn't even promise that he could take care of himself.
Couldn't believe it. Couldn't get past it. For the first time since I was a teenager, I wanted to be dead. I didn't want to live anymore. I couldn't figure out how I could get past this whole thing.
Out of desperation, I got on the phone and called his uncle, who is kind of like his spiritual mentor, and we flew out to California the next day.
While we were on that trip, something happened that completely changed my life.
So we got there, and I remember his aunt saying to both of us,
she said something that to her she probably said in passing, didn't think much of, but in that moment I literally could hear the voice of God speaking through her, and I realized in that moment and in that day the definition of surrender.
And it was a light bulb that went off for both of us, but mainly for him. It was a light bulb for me too, but I was still holding on to the hope that I could save my marriage. So we went to take a walk while we were there, and as we came down this hill, we were standing at a cliff looking out over the ocean. I don't know that Johnny felt in that moment what I did, but I just felt the presence of God around me, and I just felt him whispering to me that he was big, he was huge, and I just knew that he was big enough, and I had to let it go, and even if that meant that nothing worked out the way I wanted it to, I had to give it to him.
And so God really changed something in me almost instantly, and I gave up. I surrendered. I gave it all to him. I laid it all at his feet, and he accepted me right where I was, just as I was, all my problems, all my sin.
And now I still have to hand that over to him every day, because it's still a process of letting go of that old thinking that I can add anything to what he's done for us or what he's going to do for us. And he did show me that I had to lose my life and give all the pieces of it, all the rooms of it to him if I wanted to save it.